horizon.
Welcome back to the Panthers Courtside Report. Matt Menzel alongside Panther freshman Meagn Wallstead as we talk about Meagn, her contribution so far with Panther women's basketball. And let's begin by going back in time, your high school days in Minnesota. You were named Minnesota's Miss Basketball. You won a state championship. On top of that, you scored over 1,000 points. How would you go about summarizing your high school career?
I was really fortunate to have great teammates and great coaches all throughout my high school career, and I would just say it was an amazing experience for me, and just leading into college, I think it really prepared me well because I was going against some really great teams in Minnesota, and I think it just helped me get to where I am today.
And I read that state championship game, no slam dunk, no pun intended. You guys were down 13 points in the first half. You came back, you guys found a way to win that game. In your opinion, what was the turning point in bringing home that state championship?
I mean, we were playing Hopkins, who has always been kind of our rival team. And so when we came out, I think we were a little bit intimidated, and we just had to kind of figure out how we were going to play that game. And once we kind of clicked, we just got going and started working together as a team, which we did all season long. And I think we just got going and made some great plays and finally got a lead.
You had a 20-point, 7-rebound performance, capped off what was a 32-0 season. And so from high school to Milwaukee, why the Panthers?
I really just love the atmosphere here. I loved the coaches right away, and the teammates I connected well with right away. So it just felt like a great fit for me.
Now you take a look at the high school game, collegiate game. In your opinion, so far, 23 games in your college career, what has been the biggest difference between the two?
The biggest difference, I would say, is just like the pace and the physicality. I mean, it's just a lot faster, and everyone is a lot stronger. So just getting used to that kind of took some time, but now that I have played some games, it feels a little bit more natural and comfortable.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the physicality. How physical does it get on the inside, and how have you been able to adapt to that physicality?
It gets pretty physical. A lot of the girls are very strong, so getting in the weight room has been really important for me. And just kind of getting used to it. It took a few games, I'd say. Like at the beginning, it was definitely a shock at how physical it is inside, but now that I've got the hang of it, it's gotten a bit easier.
Your dad competed at the Division I level. He was in track and field at Minnesota. Did he help you? Did he give you advice and maybe preparing you for college athletics, the D1 level?
He's always been a big support system for me, and he taught me how to play basketball. And so having him, he coached me as well when I was younger, and so he's been a big impact for me throughout my years playing basketball, and I'm very grateful for all he's taught me.
Did you ever try track and field or any other sport, or has it always been basketball?
It's always been basketball. I think I played soccer for like a week when I was 4. And nothing else. It's always just been about basketball for me. I knew that was a sport that I wanted to play.
What's your first recollection of picking up a basketball or playing some type of organized basketball?
Actually, in kindergarten, I was playing in like a YMCA game, and I shot at the wrong basket. And so that was kind of traumatizing for me. I ended up like quitting basketball for a year because I was just so traumatized and embarrassed that I did that. But my dad convinced me to pick it up again, and ever since I've been playing.
Did you ever envision back then that you'd end up as a collegiate athlete in the sport of basketball?
Honestly, when I was that young, probably no, but once I got into like middle school and high school, early high school, I started to realize that it could be possible and something that I started to work for.
So take us back to November 7th, the season opener at Indiana, your collegiate debut. You're part of the starting 5. What are the emotions, what are the feelings as you step on the basketball court in game action for the first time as a college athlete?
I was definitely nervous, but I was also very excited, and there was just a lot of adrenaline going, and it was really just exciting to step out on the court for the first time.
And you've had, an impact on this team, and you look 11 points in that opener against the Hoosiers. You've scored in double figures on 14 separate occasions to date. You've had a double-double against Youngstown State. Did you ever envision, obviously you hope, but did you envision you'd have this kind of an impact so soon with this team?
I definitely hoped I would be able to. I mean, I didn't really know coming into it what my role would be, but now that I'm here, it feels great to be able to have a big role in the team.
And you mentioned role. How would you define your role?
I would say I'm someone who finishes inside. I'm posting up a lot inside, but I'm also able to like shoot mid-range shots and sometimes out at the three-point line. And then also on the defensive end, I can play on the perimeter and inside, so I think it's just a multi-dimensional role.
You mentioned you've had some big performances already. Any one or two performances that stand out more to you that you look at and go, so far that's the highlight of my year?
I think Youngstown State was a great game, especially it was the school day game, so the atmosphere was just kind of crazy in there, and it was just really fun to play. And then IUPUI, which we lost unfortunately, but hitting the shot at the end was kind of crazy for me.
You go back to the Youngstown State game, and you talk about the school day, the atmosphere, and so many screaming youngsters in the stands. You guys do feed off that crowd, don't you? That's a big pick-me-up for that 11:30 start.
Yeah, it was definitely crazy. I mean, they're just screaming and they're so excited and they're dancing and singing. It was really fun to play in that kind of environment.
You've been the Horizon League Freshman of the Week 3 times already, again, to date. What does that mean to you that you've been looked upon, by your peers throughout the Horizon League, at least in, 3 different instances, the best freshman right now in this league?
It's really an honor, and I'm just happy that I can be having this role on the team early in, and hopefully we can continue to do that throughout the season.
So as you continue to grow at the collegiate level, when you look at your game, what are some of the areas that you're looking at, working on, that you want to continue to see improve as you go along?
Definitely, I want to be able to be a little bit better defensively and just kind of hold my ground more in the post, because like we were talking about, some of the girls are a lot stronger. And then kind of having more of consistency from the outside range, from three-point range. I'd like to be a little more consistent. And
Coach wants you to take about 15 shots on average per game. Do you think that's realistic?
Yeah, some games I think it is. I mean, some games we have people who are, having a hot hand. Like the other night, Lizzie was really hot and she was shooting a lot from the outside. So I think getting her more touches in those kind of games is good too. But I think that me taking some shots from the outside or inside is also good in the games.
Well, as always, Meagn, thanks a lot for your time and continued success.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
That's Panther freshman Meagn Wallstead. More of the Panthers Courtside Report coming up after this. Welcome back to the Panthers Courtside Report, and being rejoined by Coach Kyle Recklitz. And Coach just had Meagn Wallstead on with us during the last segment. How did Meagn kind of fall onto your radar, and what, in your opinion, made her a good fit for the Panthers?
Well, I've been watching her for a very long time, and actually there was a period of time where I kept saying to myself, should I actually be out watching her, because I don't know if we can actually get her. She is such an outstanding player, and from the moment I saw her, when I was at the University of Dayton, we recruited a lot of 4 players that were like her, and she reminded me of one of my former players, Justine Ratterman, who is one of the best players to have played at Dayton, and is actually, I think, now in the Hall of Fame there. So she was outstanding, and that's the first thing. When I saw Meagn, I was like, this is like Justine Ratterman, and she could do wonders for us. And she's really just such an awesome person. Her family is amazing. It's been truly a blessing to have her in our program.
So you expected her, she'd be college ready upon coming on campus, and she'd have an impact like she has so quickly?
Honestly, she is one of the freshmen that I really felt like would. And a lot of times I don't try to insinuate how freshmen are going to do, because you just never know. Are they going to be in shape when they step on? How are they going to be mentally? But Meagn has just a different maturity about her. She came in and she was running with Michaela, which is unreal, because Michaela beats all of our conditioning tests. And some of those first conditioning tests, she was right behind her. And when you saw that aspect, you just knew that how competitive she was, as well as how smart she is.
So when you look at her game right now, what areas do you look at and say, hey, there's still some room to grow here. I'd like to see, this area of her game improve as we go along?
Yeah, well, we want to continue to work on our defense and continue to get her to become a lockdown defender, especially as the 4 player. I'd like to continue here, especially when we hit the postseason and this summer, to really work on some of her handle aspects. We want to see if we can start getting her to draw some attention on some drives to the basket. That was something that Steph really developed between her sophomore and junior year. If we can find a way to develop that, and Meagn's, between Meagn's freshman and sophomore year, that would be huge. So we want to get her to put the ball on the floor more, and then just stay consistent. She's going to start receiving double teams and stuff like that as she moves through her career, and so we've got to teach her how to play out of those double teams as well.
And this past Saturday, she was big in a rout of Northern Kentucky, coming through with 9 points and tied her career best with 10 rebounds. And you had mentioned, you go back to round 1 against NKU versus round 2, and it was so important for the post to establish themselves.
Yeah, they definitely won the battle there. Their post players had, and it was a very physical game, and our posts kind of took it, at NKU, and so we kind of gave them a little personal mission, and we gave our guards a goal of getting post touches during the game, and they were bought into it. Both sides, the guards and the posts, were all bought into making sure our posts got touches, and so we went to Meagn early and often at the beginning of that game, and for her to have 9 and 10 and the amount of time that I think she played 20 minutes, is incredible numbers.
How about the defense? Speaking of incredible numbers, a number of either program records or top 3 records as far as defensive performances go, from opponent field goal percentage to points and a half to total points in the game, holding Northern Kentucky to 38 at one point, had 1 field goal between the second and third quarters. I mean, the defense holding that program to about 21% shooting, incredible.
Yeah, our team is really bought into scouting reports, and I love it. They are just really focused on it. And earlier in the year we had to get on them a little bit for it, and since then they have been excellent. I mean, they really have locked in to who they're playing against, like knowing their personnel while also knowing plays. For the first time, though, this last Saturday, I actually heard our team on the court calling the offenses. And, it's like they pass the high post and they cut away, and all of a sudden Meagn Wallstead, a freshman, is out there calling what the next action is going to be. And that says a lot. That says about how far we've come. It also says the confidence that we're gaining and not being afraid to call those defensive stuff out. And that I had a lot of pride in that, because that's something that we've really been talking a lot about. And our team, from the bench to the court, I mean, everybody was just bought into the defensive side, and that really fueled our offense as well.